everybody. It is Rebecca Robbins for Mindshaper SLP here, coming to you live today to talk to you all about token boards. Token boards. So you may, if you have a child with autism, or even a child that receives special education services, you may or may not have heard of what a token board is. So give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that I can see who is commenting on Facebook. I see everyone on Instagram. All right. All right, let's move on. So a token board, what is a token board? A token board is just a way to visually represent to your child the expectation of what they have to do in order for the activity to be completed. Or if you want, you can have a reinforcer at the end of the activity, and it just shows visually exactly how much is expected of your child before the activity's over or before they get their special treat or their reinforcer. So for this particular token board that I have here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this can also be referred to as what's called like a 10 frame. So the expectation for this board would be that they would have to earn 10 tokens. So if it was me in a speech therapy session, that might mean that they have to say 10 articulation words. Or it could mean that each one of these represents a certain interval of time. And I'm going to give you an example of how you can use these in real life so that you can get your day-to-day activities done a little bit easier. So this is one example of a token board, and you don't have to have 10 empty spots. It can be smaller than that. It can be just 5 empty spots. I probably wouldn't go much bigger than 10, but it can definitely, the number is all according to what you need for the purpose that you're using it for and what your child is able to, the token board will be effective and your child is able to tolerate that number of tasks that to use the token board with. So let me give you, before I give you some examples of how to use a token board in real life, because these don't have to just be used for work activities. They can be used in your day-to-day activities and daily routine. So before I get into that, let me just talk to you about 3 different types of token boards you could use. So you could use a pre-made token board like the one I have here. And if you're interested in getting this particular token board for yourself, this comes as part of my motivation map, which is a freebie that you can just go ahead and if you're on Instagram, go to the link in my bio and you can just download the motivation map and you get access to this particular token board. On Facebook, you can go to mindshaperslp.com/motivation map to get your copy of the token board and the motivation map. So you could use a pre-made token board like this. That is one way you could use a token board. Another way you could use a token board, and I meant to grab my whiteboard, and of course I forgot. So I'm going to just use my piece of paper here. So you can use a whiteboard or a blank piece of paper, and you can literally just draw empty spots on the paper. So let's say that you want your child to do something and they're working for to watch a video on the iPad. So let's make 5 empty spots for the word video. So basically, instead of giving your child a token for this board, you're going to write the name, the word of what it is that they're going to earn at the end. So if your child, let's say you need your child to set the table, and for each thing that they put on the table, they get a letter in one of the boxes. So they put the plates on the table, they get the letter V. They put the silverware on the table, they get the letter I. They put the glasses on the table, they get the letter D. They put the napkins on the table, they get the letter E. And then they put, what else do we need? They put the hot plates on the table, they get the letter O. And so now they have earned their video. And you say, good job, you got all of your letters, you set the whole table, you can go get your video. And literally a token board can be this low tech as this. I have done this numerous times because I don't always in the moment when I'm working with a student have the fancy pre-made token board. So I have to make my own. And the important thing to know is you can see I started with the empty boxes, and that's important rather than just writing out the letters video as the child does what they have to do on the blank piece of paper. If you start with the empty boxes, that gives your child very specifically the expectation of how many things need to be done before they get their video. And then they can slowly see the boxes get filled up, which increases the drive and the motivation for the child to persist through the whole activity to get through the end because they can see the boxes filling up. So it's really important to start with the empty boxes so that your child knows exactly what is expected of them with the particular activity. And you always want to headline the expectation for your child. Say, okay, it's time to set the table. I know you want to watch your video right now. So after you set the table, then you can go watch your video. You have 5 parts to setting the table. You have the plates, the silverware, the glasses, the napkins, and the hot plate. For every time you put something on the table, I'll give you another letter for your video. And then they know exactly what's expected of them. Even if your child is nonverbal or has limited language skills, I still suggest that you do this because they do understand. They definitely do understand, and it goes much easier when they know the expectation. If a child had more limited language abilities, I would probably simplify what I would say to them. I might say, and maybe the task would be different, but I'll say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then video. So you can just keep it a little simpler, but always start with the expectation of exactly what the child needs to do. It really goes a long way. So the first type of token board is like a pre-made token board that maybe even your school, you can get this one for yourself by downloading my motivation map, or you can ask your child's school if they could send you a token board, or if you're in a pinch, you can just go ahead and draw empty boxes on a piece of paper, however many. I did 5, and you can fill the boxes up with the letters of a word of what your child is working for. Or if they're not working for something particular, or the thing that they're working for has a longer name than what your child's tolerance is, you can just do like a smiley face in each box, or you can do a check mark in each box. It doesn't matter. The important thing is that the boxes are getting filled up and it's clear the expectation and when the expectation is complete. So those are 2 types of token boards. A third type that you could do if you're feeling adventurous, and these work really, really well, is you can print out a picture of something that your child might be working for, your child really loves, and then you cut that picture up into the number of pieces that you're going to use for your child to earn as the token board. So let's say your child is really likes playing on the iPad. You can take a picture of the iPad, and let's say you cut it up into like 6 pieces. So then your child, when you print out the picture, you want 2 copies so that you have one. So you want 2 copies. So one is the copy that they're going to match the pieces onto, and the other copy is the one you cut up into the pieces. So that each time, so let's say for the setting the table example, and we have the picture of the iPad. So instead of writing the letter in each time the child does a step of the setting the table process, they get a piece of the picture. And then they match the picture to the one that they have. And when they have found all the pieces of the picture, then they get to play with the thing that they're working for. So they can literally see the picture coming together. Now that you know 3 types of token boards that you can use, let's talk about some functional activities that you can use the token boards with in real life with these token boards. So one that might come up is, let's say that there's something that your child is really excited for. Like maybe he knows that you're going to go to the park today, or at the end of the day, you're going to go to the park, but it's 9 o'clock in the morning and you don't have plans to go to the park until 5 o'clock that afternoon, right? But your child wakes up, they know that today's park day, we're going to go to the park, and they're just super excited about it. But maybe they don't have a good sense of time, and the word later doesn't really mean that much to him or her. You can use a token board to help your child realize the amount of time they need to wait until they get to go to the park. So with this, I would pair some sort of token board like this one and a set amount of time. So let's say it's 9 in the morning and you're going to the park at 5. That's 8 hours, right? So you're going to use a token board with 8 different spaces, and each space is an hour long. And so you would say, okay, when we fill up all of these circles, we get to go to the park. I'm going to set this timer. And I really love the timer on the iPhone because it's actually a visual timer. So if you set that up, and or on an iPad, and your child can literally see the time ticking down, you say, okay, so I'm going to set the timer. When the timer goes off, we're going to fill up one of these circles. And when we fill up all the circles, it's time to go to the park. So that is a really functional way you can use a token board at home in your daily routine. Another way you can use it is to complete the steps of a daily routine. So setting the table, I just gave that example. You can take the activity, setting the table, and divide it up into 5 different steps, or however many different steps it is to set the table. And then after each step of the task, the child checks off a square on the token board, or you give them some sort of a sticker to put on the token board, you X out the thing on the token board. But again, you just make it very clear how many steps they have to do and then what they get to do after. Or maybe it's just that then the activity is all done and that's enough. So another way you could do this is for like a bedtime routine. If you're having a hard time with getting your child to be independent with a bedtime routine, you can have them check off for each step of the bedtime routine. They check off a circle on the token board after they complete each one. When the token board is all filled up, then the bedtime routine is over, and now you get your bedtime story. So that's another way you can functionally use a token board in real life. And finally, maybe you could use it on an outing, like grocery shopping, for instance. So maybe there is a special treat that your child loves to get when they go to the grocery store, but taking your child to the grocery store can sometimes be a little problematic. They have a hard time tolerating sitting in the basket, and it's just kind of a boring activity for them. So you can use the token board to help keep them more engaged in the activity, so that at the end they get their special treat or the special thing that you buy for them at the grocery store. And the way that I would do it is, after you go down each aisle, you check off a spot on the token board. So you would just say to your child at the beginning of the trip, like, okay, we're going to go grocery shopping. What special treat do you want to buy at the store today? Or maybe they don't have the ability to answer that question. So you say, we're going to buy cookies at the store today, but first we have to fill up our board. And so you leave the produce department, you check off a token board. And then, so if you are doing that, you just want to make sure that the aisle that the cookies are in, for example, if that's what you're buying for your child, that you go down that aisle last, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going down the cookie aisle and passing the cookies and your child's like, cookie, cookie, cookie. And you're like, no, not yet. So just skip that aisle of the grocery store if you're using this strategy, and then go to it once the token board is all filled up. So each time, so you go through the produce department, check off a piece of the token board, then you go down the next aisle, check off the token board, then you go down the next aisle, check, and you just go like that. And then when the token board's all filled up, then yay, we get to go buy your cookies now. And then you go to the cookie aisle and get the cookies. So that's another functional way that you can use a token board in real life. All right, so I think that wraps it up. My apologies for the little interruption in little technical difficulty we had in the middle of the video. Thank you for hanging in there. Let me know, have you used token boards with your child? If so, how'd it go? How did it work out for you? And also, don't forget that if you would like your free copy of this token board that I was demonstrating in today's video, you can just go ahead to mindshaperslp.com/motivation map. All right, thanks everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.